covering the High Plains with news, weather, and information. From TV23 Studios in Sublette, this is High Plains Today.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us on High Plains Today right here on TV23. You know what? It is Thanksgiving week, and we are taking some time off to get things caught up and to be with our families. So, to start this week, we are going to have a three-part series we taped at the National Weather Service office in Dodge City. It was quite an interesting visit. We spent over 3 hours there talking about what the National Weather Service does. Now remember, if you miss any of the shows, we upload them on our Facebook and YouTube page. You can find those at KDGL TV. We're looking at a monitor here that has a gazillion lines on it and circles and check marks, and I don't know what all this is. So what are we looking at?
All right, see this little L right there?
Yeah.
Okay, that's low pressure. Low pressure at the surface. This would be early Wednesday morning. And deep low pressure, the winds, these little barbs are kind of point around, so see them, they're kind of swirling like that. And so that's looking at the system.
So these little, I'm going to call them check marks. You're going to call them barbs. That's wind direction?
Wind direction, pointing in the direction the wind's going. So it's moving this direction like that. And so basically all that air's coming together in that low pressure center just south of St. Francis. And by sunrise, that low pressure is now moved over here by Oberlin, and now the winds are really picking up by St. Francis, Goodland. The little red line right there is precipitation. I'm guessing a lot of that's going to be snow. And as we go forward, this low pressure goes right up towards Omaha, but the wind machine really cranks up. And
okay, so that's on the back side of the low?
Back side of the low. So it looks like precipitation, northwestern Kansas, south central Nebraska, probably in the form of snow. And with 30, 40, 50-mile-an-hour winds, certainly some blowing up there. So that's just a computer simulation of what is probably going to happen, but it sure looks pretty good.
So what that's telling us is once the low gets headed towards Omaha, that's when the winds on the backside of the low are going to sweep down through Dodge City, Liberal, Garden City, and it's going to be breezy.
And with the temperature falling off, too. So it'll be pretty chilly in southwestern Kansas. Does not look like any precipitation this time. All that stays up in northeast Colorado, northwest Kansas, up in that vicinity. But, yeah, the wind machine's going to get cranked up pretty good.
Okay, so, and then once that keeps moving off, though, then the winds are going to kind of die down, but they're still going to be out of the northwest, correct?
They die down. They are out of the northwest, but by Thursday morning, they might be low enough, and if the sky clears off enough, we may have some freezing temperatures again Thursday morning, but especially Friday morning, I think.
Okay, so the blues and purples, I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So just kind of represent the coldest, of course, out in Colorado and Rockies. So that's just a computer simulation of what's going on the next.
This is a computer model of what the computer, what the information it has now, what it thinks is going to happen.
Yeah, based on sorts of physics, kinematics, and things like that. So it's taking all this information, forecasting the temperature, wind direction, sky condition, pressure, and things like that. So it takes us 6 years to figure this out.
6 years. Okay. All right.
So if you want to be a meteorologist, Chris, you need to go to a university and take 6 hours or 6 years of classwork, and we'll make you a meteorologist.
No. I have a hard enough time just standing in front of a green wall pointing at the temperatures.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm relying on you guys to tell me everything that's going to happen.
All right. Very good. We can do that. So.
Because that's what Jonathan was doing over there. He was doing the forecast.
Right. Exactly. So.
All right. And Mike over here was working on he was working on winds, right?
He's working more on the decision support, so he's making pretty pictures and things like that. So he's briefing a lot of different people on what's going to happen. So he makes different graphics, just highlighting what we have coming up. And the highlight for us is the wind.
That's a highlight.
Low light.
Okay. All right. So, and then over here, what are we looking at over here on this one?
All right, this is our gridded forecast that Jonathan actually made the forecast, and so each point in here is a specific, in this case, a specific high temperature for Thursday, and so we can look all across western Kansas, and for instance,
we're going to be in the 50s. Good deal.
Yeah, not too bad for Thursday, but for Wednesday, temperature is going to be in the 50s, but probably early. But here's the Thursday morning.
Oh, here he goes. He's gonna drop the other shoe.
All right, so not too bad. 32, 29 Garden City, 24 out of Tribune. You know, near the Colorado border, mid-20s looks like. So that's Thursday morning.
All right, so when he's doing this and getting this information, now, where does this come from to say it's going to be 29 in Garden City?
He can use computer guidance, but more than likely he used his own thought process of, all right, well, the computer guidance is maybe a little warm, maybe a little cold, so he can adjust that. So so what I could do, you know, I could go in there and said, oh, you want 20? So I could come in here and I could do this. I said, oh, look at this. I'm going to lower the temperatures a little bit. Do we want, really? Arkansas River Valley, look at that. I'm going to drop the temperature. So say we could do that. So that's how we do that. And then it can be saved. And then when you click on the internet, if you click right on Garden City, and if I publish that, you know, it's a low that's pretty chilly. So.
And I'm going to read that and I'm going to go, what?
Yeah, you probably should say what. So.
All right. So how far out would, now on a forecast, would Jonathan be going over there not making it up, but doing this? How far out would he go, or can he go?
Right now we're actually going out 7 days. And so next, the 17th on a Tuesday. So that's the forecast for that period. But the caveat here is that we use a lot of the computer guidance to give us that forecast. So we don't use as much of our time, if you will, in forecasting that far out, because so many things change. You know, beyond a couple of days, it changes so much. So we try to limit our expertise, if you will, for that first day or two. But as we get out, we do have a forecast. It's just heavily weighted towards the computer.
So, all right. So what you guys do is you take all this information and you make this available to whoever, correct?
Goes into a big database, and then anybody can use it. It's available on the internet. If you go to weather.gov, and if you go to southwestern Kansas, wherever you click, that forecast is generated right here using these graphics.
And so the Weather Channel can use this. We use it over at our station at KDGL. I mean, on a daily basis, we use your forecast. But other people are using this information, but they're putting their own spin on it. Is that what you're telling me as far as when they package stuff?
Sure, they may package it down to a specific level, to a specific user. And so what we do is a broad brush, if you will, and what they can do is tailor it down to someone for a specific need.
You're watching High Plains Today on TV23 with host Chris Jewell. TV23's internet service and 4G live streaming provided by United Wireless. Coverage you deserve. Service you expect. United Wireless.
Welcome back to High Plains Today. We now continue with our visit to the National Weather Service in Dodge City. Okay, now here's the big question. I'm going to come back around on this side. As we stand in here in operations of the National Weather Service, or NOAA. Do we call it NOAA or do we call it National Weather Service?
This is NOAA's National Weather Service. So National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, which is NOAA, they oversee what the National Weather Service does.
Okay, so what's the difference between NOAA and the National Weather Service? I mean, what does NOAA do that you guys don't do?
They're the parent company, if you will. They provide some of the monies that help fund the National Weather Service.
Okay, so you guys are like a wholly owned subsidiary.
Now it comes down from the Department of Commerce, and that is divvied out to the NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and then that is divvied out to the National Weather Service nationwide, and then regions, and then local offices, and that's where we're at.
Okay. All right. Here's the big question, though, as we stand in here in the Operations Center, and I'm looking over here on this south wall. You've got 3 big TVs over there. I mean, what happens in here, say, let's go back to severe weather, the severe weather season here in southwest Kansas. I mean, what goes on in here then?
Well, we've got 6 workstations right here, and so each one will be doing something different. We still are forecasting. We're still forecasting for our grids that you see on the internet. We're also doing aviation forecasts, taking a lot of phone calls, we're making calls, and then more importantly, issuing the warnings. So we'll have the guy that's interpreting the radar data, making the decision to warn or not, and it draws out the warning and it's issued. And then, of course, we're making a lot of phone calls, a lot of radio communication with our storm spotters out there, emergency management, law enforcement, and just that way we're communicating that risk to the people that are out there.
So when a warning comes down, say for Dodge City or Liberal or Meade, anywhere, do they get the recommendation to sound sirens or take cover or whatever from you guys?
It's up to each county. If the risk is there, either that the warning has been issued, then yeah, we would like for them to issue the warning or the siren. But it's up to them. I mean, if they see something coming into their community that they need to alert people, then they have that option too.
Okay, so if they have spotters on the ground, then they can also utilize those. But you guys are helping them to assess the risk, correct?
Right. When we issue the warning, if we issue a tornado warning for a community, you know, that risk is real. It's there, and so we want people to act accordingly. So we're hoping that the sirens are issued. But remember, an outdoor siren, that's all that is to alert you if you're outdoors and hear it. There's something going on, but you're going to have to tune into a weather radio. Or maybe watch the TV, listen to radio stations to see what the heck is going on to take appropriate actions.
So when there is severe weather in southwest Kansas, I'm sure that things are, I mean, do you ramp up a level in here?
Absolutely. We have 27 counties, so, you know, today we've got 3 or 4 people in an operation center when we have warnings, 6 or 7 people at least. So we got to ramp it up, certainly.
All right, so now you were saying earlier, now, is there somebody here 24 hours a day, there is a person in one of these chairs?
Yeah, 2 or 3 people for each shift. So 24/7, there's somebody here.
365.
365.
That's pretty amazing. Okay, so when you issue a warning, now, I know you guys have the ability to broadcast warnings also on the air. Now, how is that done?
Through our NOAA weather radios, all hazards weather radios. We have transmitters across the area. So we have machines over here that can actually generate. We have a text, and it generates the voice, if you will, and then automatically sends out, turns these little radios on that they're monitoring for the broadcast, and it's on. It's within 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and it's on the air.
That's pretty quick. Okay, and so you just put the text in, and then there's an artificial voice that just goes in and puts it out.
It's an artificial voice. It's actually a human voice. It's concatenated into something we can understand, and then that's all it's doing is taking the text and putting it into words, and it's all hands off for us at that point.
Okay, so if I hear a warning out there, I'm not going to be able to go, oh, that's Jeff, I know him.
Used to be able to, but no, we streamlined everything now. So we used to actually have to make the broadcast, but it's all done electronically.
Okay. All right. So now, are we looking, now I see there's a map up there that says U.S. Geological Survey. I mean, what is that? Why do we have that up there?
The screen right there in the middle is basically showing river sites across the United States. It could also be precipitation sites. So we're monitoring, you know, not just right here in Dodge City, but what if we had a lot of heavy rain or something in southeast Colorado? You know, perhaps that'd be water coming into the Smoky Hill up in northwestern Kansas, maybe the Arkansas River, Bear Creek out in Stanton County. So, you know, we have to look not just right here, but also outside our area a little bit.
Okay. All right. Now, the other thing we're going to stick around for this is you got to tell me, I'm going to come over here. Tell me about this deal right here.
The most important deal is right here.
That's it right there.
This is called a radiosonde, and this is the instrument that will be carried up by this. That's our weather balloon. Let me stretch this out. I'm going to stand up here because it's pretty tall. So that's our weather balloon, and that's going to be filled up with hydrogen and inflated and released. It's going to carry the radiosonde upwards at 1,000 feet every minute. And, you know, we hope it gets up to about 100,000 feet, which that's up there ways.
That is, yeah.
And it's going to continually send back information on temperature and humidity and pressure, and then also wind information, because we have actually a little GPS signal in that right there. So that's going to give us vital information on what's happening right now above us.
And then it comes once. Okay, so once it gets to 100,000 feet, I'm sure the balloon goes bang.
This balloon, 35 feet in diameter by the time it gets to 100,000 feet. That's pretty big, right?
Well, yeah, because it's going to be 8, 10 feet big by the time when it leaves here.
Oh, yeah, about 7-8 feet in diameter, something like that.
Okay, but it's going 5 times. It's going to 35.
It's a special latex rubber able to expand that much. But eventually, yeah, because of lower pressure, it will explode, pop into little shreds. And right here, this thing pops open, and it's the parachute.
This is like when you were a kid growing up. You had the little army guys, and you make little parachutes for them, right?
You're going to come in at 5 in the morning to do this for us, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, very good. So it's going to carry that instrument back down safely to Earth, and it's probably going to be southeast of Dodge City somewhere. We find a lot of them down in Comanche County. And, you know, Chris, a lot of people find these and like, what in the heck is this? Well, it tells you it's a harmless weather instrument, but it also tells you, please use the enclosed mailing pouch to reach.
Oh, it comes with its own self-addressed sealed envelope.
Yeah, look at this right here. There's a little pouch in there. And if a person would just put that in this bag, and this is the bag right here. So a bag like this, seal it up, put it in the post office mailing box, and it's sent back and reconditioned, and then we can use it again. So,
all right, so here's the big question. Of these that come down southeast of Dodge City, now you start getting down there's a lot of hills, canyons, that type of thing, a lot of ranch land. How many of these bad boys do you get back?
You know, unfortunately, we probably only get 15 to 20% back. That is reconditioned, so it just varies on who finds it. But you know, if we can reuse it, we're going to save the government money, right?
Exactly.
So why not? I mean, it's
and postage is prepaid.
That's right. Absolutely.
All you got to do is put it in the boat. All you got to do is drop it in.
It's simple. Yes. Right.
Wow. Okay. So important safety tip: if you find one of these and it says harmless weather instrument on it, there's a bag on the inside for this baby. Put it in there and drop it in the mail. These guys will take it back. They really, really will.
Absolutely. And we can use it again.
All right. Okay. So we got the balloon that goes. Now, do you send these up rain or shine every day, twice a day?
Yeah, twice a day, 5 o'clock in the evening, 5 o'clock in the morning. And if there's a thunderstorm, we'll delay it just a little bit until that storm passes. But in general, yeah, if there's a blizzard going on out there.
You guys are out there pumping up the balloon.
Not me, but somebody is.
Who's okay? Oh, wait, no, Dwayne. Here, Dwayne. This is Dwayne. Now, Dwayne has been. How long have you been with the Weather Service?
I've been with the Weather Service now for 21 years.
And you're the balloon guy.
I'm the balloon guy.
But the sad thing is, Dwayne's getting ready to retire, and they're all kind of sad about that because then they're going to be a guy short, and then they're going to have to draw straws to see who sends the balloon up, right?
That's right.
Okay, but if this did go up in a thunderstorm, odds are it wouldn't make it very high.
It may or may not, but the information comes back corrupted because it's sampling the thunderstorm and not the atmosphere around it. We want to sample the atmosphere, not the thunderstorm.
You aren't the only ones sending up balloons.
Well, here in Kansas, we also have Topeka, we have Albuquerque, Amarillo, we've got Denver, Midland. There's sites all across the globe that does this at approximately the same time. And so we want to get a snapshot of the atmosphere above us all across the globe.
So this is a worldwide thing.
It really is, yeah.
So so now, does the FAA, this may be a silly question. I mean, you guys are here in Dodge City on the grounds of the airport. Now, does the FAA know that all these at 5 o'clock? I mean, I'm assuming, okay, it's 5 o'clock here. It's 2 or 3 o'clock on the West Coast. Somebody out there, everybody's going up at, say, 5 o'clock Central Time?
Right.
All around the globe?
All around the globe, yeah. And
that's a lot of balloons.
You know, it's not that many, but the atmosphere above us is pretty large. So it's like a needle in a haystack. As far as we know, maybe one plane is ever entangled up in something like this, but you know, all they're doing is getting the string. Because we have string that's going from this to the parachute to the balloon. So as far as we know, nothing's happened. Now, if the plane is taking off, we'll delay it a few minutes.
Oh, sure. Okay, that makes sense.
It's like a needle in a haystack out there. Not likely to ever encounter it.
Okay, so, and this gives you all kinds of information. Now, the information that comes back from these is used in a lot of these computer models?
Yeah, computer models are using observations at the surface and also above us. So we're getting temperature right here off a thermistor, and we've got a barometer inside here. Air comes through the top right here, and it comes out the bottom through a little.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, there's like a little vent.
That's measuring the humidity that's in the air. So it's gathering all that information and sending it back to us in real time. And so we have a instantaneous almost snapshot of what's going on above us.
Welcome back to High Plains Today. We now continue with our visit to the National Weather Service in Dodge City. I want you to give me the dummy version of how relative humidity is figured. Because, you know, you got the dew points are involved and the temperature, et cetera, to come up with humidity.
Actually, we're using something called a wet bulb temperature. It's just a little bit different, but basically...
A what? Wait, what? I know, Google it.
Yeah, Google it. No, basically relative humidity just it's a ratio of the amount of moisture that's in the air compared to what could be in the air at that temperature. You see, at a lower temperature, the air can't hold quite as much water. At a warmer temperature, it can hold more water. So it's just a relative term of how much water vapor could be in the air at that temperature versus what is actually occurring right now.
Okay, so what does the dew point have to do with the relative humidity? Tell me what the dew point is, because I think I have a pretty good understanding of it, but for other people that maybe don't.
Dew point temperature is basically where condensation, dew will form at that temperature. So if you had a glass, fill it with ice, put water in it, measure the temperature of that, and as soon as condensation forms on the outside, that would be
bingo, dew point.
There's your dew point. Right.
All right, so is that why with the higher temperatures and the higher dew points, is that why we get in the summertime, that's when our humidity seems to be the highest?
Well, it's more moisture in the air. And so, you know, at a 95-degree temperature, a dew point of 70, it's a lot of moisture in the air. So that's when it gets really sticky and humid.
And it's been doing that here lately in this part of the world. I mean, the last few summers, we've had some pretty humid days.
And part of that is evapotranspiration off of the corn that's growing out there. We got moisture in the soil in Texas coming up. So evapotranspiration all adds moisture to the air.
I didn't know that.
Walk into a cornfield that's actively growing.
Well, yeah, I'd always see, yeah.
It's sweaty.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. But then also the moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico.
So is that I mean, I know we talked about this before, but that's the majority of where our weather moisture comes from is the Gulf? In this part of the world?
The majority of the good moisture, we like to say, is what comes out of the Gulf of Mexico. Right. But even late spring, if it's really wet in Texas and Oklahoma, that evaporation from that wet ground can actually contribute to it.
And we may get nothing rain-wise out of that, but we're going to get the humidity that's drawn up out of Texas and Oklahoma?
That's just one part of the equation. I mean, we got to look at the temperatures above us. We got to look at the wind field, the dry air coming off the higher terrain to the west. So all that plays into effect. So, yeah, we can have all kinds of moisture. But if we're not able to get the moisture lifted into a cloud and eventually precipitation, it doesn't do us any good.
All right, so, and with winter coming on, there's one more thing. It just popped into my mind. But we talk about, you know, as the cold comes out of Canada, you know, and they call them, what, the Polar Express or whatever they call it.
You can call it that, but...
Okay, what do you call it?
Cold air coming out of Canada.
Here I thought he was going to have something really nifty for it. No, it's cold air out of Canada.
Yeah.
So what causes now that to come rushing down out of the north?
High pressure. So you get high pressure up in the higher latitudes, and wind wants to go from high pressure to low pressure. So higher pressure up there, lower pressure down here, and air just starts moving. And cold air is a density, massive dense air, just wants to go to the higher latitudes towards the equator. So, but you mentioned the Polar Express. My favorite is probably the Siberian Express. So the cold air comes off of Siberia, across Alaska, northwestern Canada, into the United States. And
that's really, really cold?
That's really, really cold, yeah.
Okay, that's when we're going to see single digits or minus digits?
Oh, no, we could actually get that without that. I mean, if it's snow cover all across the northern plains, central plains, cold night in the wintertime, or a clear sky in the wintertime, light winds.
That's right, because in the wintertime, temperature will drop a bunch on a clear night because the clouds help hold the heat in, right?
That's exactly right.
Ha, got one right for me.
There we go. You may be a meteorologist.
No. I have a hard time with wind. For the longest time when we first started the show, I would call the wind speeds, because I did them right after the dew points and the temperature, I would say wind temps.
Okay.
Is there temperature and wind? There's got to be some kind of temperature and wind. Tell me there is, just for my own satisfaction.
Wind chill.
Ha. Okay, I was talking wind chill.
Index, yes.
All right. So there's another important safety tip.
Absolutely.
How is wind chill index figured?
All right, look, you got the air comes across the body, removes heat from the body, and it's a cooling effect. So if you've got 30 degrees out there and a 40-mile-an-hour wind, that's just moving heat away from the body. So it feels to the body like perhaps 10, 15, something like that. So if we get down to teens, 40-mile-an-hour wind, it feels like maybe 20 below to the body.
Yes.
You know, that's bad for the body.
Yeah, that's bad. I'm going to stay buttoned up.
Flesh can actually freeze within 5 minutes if the wind chill index is about -20 to -25. And so that's why we say, hey, cover up, put gloves on, put hats on, scarves, things like that. Cover up the body so the heat doesn't relieve the body.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
All right, now, we're going to stick around. We're going to watch, Dwayne's going to go out, and he's going to fire this balloon. Well, he's not going to fire it, but he's going to send a balloon up.
You know why we don't want fire with the balloon?
Well, that's not good.
Because we did not mention. This is balloon, Chris, this is very important, is filled with hydrogen.
That's true.
Not helium, so very flammable. So we're not going to fire the balloon up.
We could have a, the humanity, what was that, the big Zeppelin? Hindenburg. We could have our own little Hindenburg out back?
We don't, no.
Okay, we don't want that. All right, okay. All right, Jeff, I appreciate it. We're going to stick around. We're going to be back. We're going to watch Dwayne send the balloon.
Release it.
Release the balloons. Release the balloon to the atmosphere. Thanks, Jeff.
All right.
Thanks for watching High Plains today on TV23. We hope you're enjoying our visit to the National Weather Service in Dodge City. Now, more tomorrow, so see you then.
Keep up to date with the latest information from TV23 on our Facebook page, KDGL TV.